Hey Tim, how's the prep going at this stage? Less than 2 weeks out.
Yeah, I think the prep's been good. I think we've got what we needed out of the last couple of games, which has been important. Chasing little wins within our style of play, and I think we've seen some good signs. Obviously, a lot to work on still. We want to score more and be more competitive and win games. So there's a long road there, but I feel like we're on the right path.
So little wins, you mean, as Adam has pointed out over the pre-season, around the contest, win clearance, get the game played in your forward half. You saw some of that on the weekend, you felt? Yeah, definitely.
I felt after a bit of a slow start, I think we really got going in the second and third quarter. So, some positives there. We played the game in our front half, which every team's trying to do. Unfortunately, we're just probably lacking a little bit of connection going inside 50 and putting it on the scoreboard. So there's a lot to work on there.
On the clearance, with Matt Flynn going down, just a big adjustment. How did the midfield cope at the weekend, and how are you coping going forward?
Yeah, I thought we adjusted really well from the week before. So Flinny going out was sort of, I think it was captain's run just before we played Freo. So yeah, not really ideal. We're certainly missing him, and I guess we've became accustomed to a certain way of setting up. Really getting on the front foot with him. This whole pre-season. So to have him go out is unfortunate. I think we had a lot more time to sort of plan and prep. Knowing that we're going to go back to having Bailey in the ruck, and it's important going forward that we adjust the right ways as midfielders to help our rucks out.
First up, a very good opponent at the weekend. Bailey was up against the three ruckmen, but how difficult was that from a clearance perspective, just with his dominance?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, rucks are so important, and when rucks are very dominant, it's hard as midfielders to, I guess, get in the game, and essentially you lose field position if you're not you're out of position, or I think we gave away a lot of free kicks on the weekend. We've spoken about that, and hopefully moving forward, those boys have a few things to work on, and hopefully you can hold them in good stead going forward.
Because it wasn't always as it was last year. It was good at the weekend against a side that loves to tackle. Was that a focus?
Yeah, I think it's a focus every week. The opposition is pretty simple. Opposition got the ball, you got to get the ball back. You got to be good at tackling. So, and that's all. Based around the style of play we're chasing. We want to be good in the contest, and you're not always going to have the ball. So, it's about being elite with your pressure that you bring, and your willingness to compete to get the ball back. So tackling is a big part of that, and I'd like to see us, continue to grow and get better in that space.
How much have you had to adjust, Tim? You were known as one of the great attacking mids of the comp at Geelong in a dominant midfield, and your running patterns were fantastic from an offensive point of view, but you've come to a team that's now struggling. How much have you had to change your game to fit in to a structure the way it's going at the moment?
Yeah, I guess personally it has been a bit of a change, and I guess the game in itself has ultimately changed as well from, what are we talking? It's now my 5th year with the club, so I feel like the game slightly changes every year. Obviously there's been adjustments, probably a lot less attacking hard, really challenging my direct opponent to defend me going forward. So it's been a bit of a change. It's probably meant a lot more the other way, and it is what it is. I pride myself on being a good two-way runner, two-way mid, and sometimes that's just what you got to do.
So this is a different season. You're trying to do different things, but where does last year sit in terms of how proud you are of different seasons, given you've had to do that? It was a losing team with a losing midfield, and yet you've played, probably from a consistency perspective, as good a year in footy as you've played.
Yeah, I mean, I'm extremely, I'm proud of myself. I think, I think I've showed, before even making it into the league that I'm a pretty resilient person. I don't think most people who don't get drafted by the age of 23 continue, striving to want to get into the league. So I've always been resilient, and not just myself, but all the boys in general. Like we've had to be real resilient. There's not just me, but everyone really. There's a lot of things that are, I guess, it feels like everything's sort of working against you and nothing's really going your way. But we're all working really hard, and we're hoping that you can turn.
Going further back, and obviously you want to go forward, but what changed that year when you had that breakout year in the Waffle, and just at the end of the year we knew you were going to get drafted? It was just a matter of where. What changed that year that enabled you to go up that notch and ensure your place in the AFL?
Are you talking like what changed during the year that I got drafted?
What changed for you? Yeah. What did you change about yourself and your game that enabled you to hit that new level at South Fremantle that final year there?
Yeah. I guess at the time. I was probably. I've always loved the game. I've loved competing, loved playing footy. Something I've sort of been good at since I was really little. So. Obviously a lot of frustration not getting, picked as a 18-year-old, and there's, certain reasons for that. But, I guess just wanting to, love of the game and wanting to play the game as high as I could for as long as I could. So if that was going to be with South Fremantle, then, great club, and so be it. So I guess I was, in a way, happy and content with that. But at the same time, I guess, I started to really challenge myself in, the way that I presented athletically, worked on running, worked on strength and conditioning and stuff like that. So just, not just, what I can do with the ball, and I guess felt like I was, going to another level, and it was helping my game. So, and I guess I've always sort of, challenge myself when playing against AFL listed players in the Waffle, and I guess I saw a lot of things that I was kind of like, I can do that, and so I don't know. I'm not sure if I've answered it correctly, but probably a little bit of all that.
So in terms of you've got a lot of kids running around the midfield now. Harley was in for the first bounce. I think at the weekend, Ruben Jinby will be in regularly with yourself and guys like Elliot. Are those sort of learnings you can pass on to them as well? You going up against AFL players when you're just a Waffle player, these kids going up against experienced AFL midfielders when they're just first and second year AFL players? Yeah,
for sure. I think the way, mind you, the way that some of these kids are now presenting themselves when walking into the league is completely different to how it was, when I was 18. These guys are like almost men, and if they're not, then they're 1 or 2 pre-seasons away from that. So these guys, our boys are coming in. I think they're ready to go. They're mature, and I'm always, myself, Yoey, Gaffy, us guys have been around for a while. We're always there to sort of, give confidence, and we want our young players, we want everyone really on our team, just bursting with confidence. You can't really, although it's been, obviously the last couple of years we probably haven't been in that space, but we need to get on the positives. We need everyone, it doesn't matter if you've been here for 5 minutes, we need everyone full of confidence on game day. So
how is the midfield dynamic with a fit Elliot back in there?
Yeah, I think it looks, it's different. Like it's, we're completely, I think I've said this a few times, but we're a completely different midfield with him. It's just his size, his willingness to compete. He's a full package, so he can do a little bit of everything. His pressures is elite when he doesn't have the footy, and he's a handful for the opposition. So having him in the midfield, I think it makes everyone around him better. We're all better just by having him in the team. So he's done a hell of a lot of work in the off season. I'm proud of him. I think everyone is, and hopefully all that hard work can show and he can stay out in the field consistently because that's what we want.
Can I ask you about Harry Taylor? He's joined the club in a leadership consultancy position. You would have spent a bit of time with him in Geelong. Can you speak to the person? What sort of skills Harry will bring?
Yeah, obviously I got the news this morning that H was going to be on board, and it's great. Feels like a bit of a lifetime ago that I was just starting out at the Cats and he was there. Someone I sort of looked up to, and obviously has a lot of experience in the game, and I think he's going to bring fresh ideas. I think he's going to bring a wealth of knowledge. Obviously has a good understanding about the game, and I think he's just going to be someone that our players can really tap into and gain a lot out of. I think it's great that the club's brought him on board.
How important is that with the age profile of your list, having someone like Harry come in just to really knuckle down with some of those younger players?
Yeah, it's amazing, really. I think I can't remember, I keep hearing it, but we've got, I think, something ridiculous like 20 plus players under 22, I could be wrong, but so to have guys like that around, it's incredible, so I'm sure the boys will definitely tap into him.